been gone for a very long time. It's been crazy. I've been out on the road. I've done 4 or 5 different tours since I dropped my last videos, and I've really just been thinking about what I want to do for the YouTube channel. I know I've met a lot of you guys. I've met some really cool people on the road in the last couple months, and I wanted to go back to making videos that would help. I get a lot of complaints about people gatekeeping information or LDs not wanting to share information, and all of that is just really odd to me. I may not do things the right way, but I do things the way I know how to do, and I want to start sharing that with everyone else. So what we're going to go over today, I'm just really going to start with the basics. We're going to start slow. I don't know how long this series will go for. I'm going to start by saying I will be doing everything in MA3 moving forward. Everything will be done in MA3. MA2 is great. I will probably have to go back to MA2 for future shows, and that's okay. I still personally run into a lot of problems with 3, but I love it, and I have figured out workarounds, and we can talk about all the issues with MA3 later on, but that's not what I want to do today. I love MA3, and moving forward, we're going to continue to use it for these videos. If I have anything that comes up where people would like to learn more about MA2, or they have questions about MA2, I'll happily go back. I might do some questions and answers. I haven't made up my mind completely yet, but yeah, we're going to stick to MA3 for now. I really just want to start with the basics. These first couple videos are going to be very, very intro to MA3, intro to lighting, just so everyone can jump in and get involved. But to start today, we're really just going to be talking about fixtures. I want to talk about fixtures that I've been using on the road that I like, and fixtures that I've just seen that have come around in the last few months that have really changed the game. Stuff I like to use for cloning, stuff that's easy to clone to, stuff that's easy to work with, and just fixtures that you'll see at a bunch of different shops. After we go over those fixtures, I'm going to move into patching. We'll do some patching on MA3 today, just so you guys can see that. And from there, honestly, the options are endless. I think I might start doing some capture videos where I create stages and different designs in capture, and we'll go back and forth between MA3 and capture. We'll go over MA3D and maybe create some cool videos, some cool content for artists that I've really been digging lately. I'd like to start time coding for some bigger EDM guys, so that's really the goal right now. But the first goal is to just make some cool content for you guys. So what we're going to start with first, I'll open the patch sheet. I might not be doing anything in MA3D just for now, or MA3 just so you guys can get the gist of patching. But we're going to start there. I'm going to come over here and just open up my patch sheet. It's really simple in 3D. Once you go over here to your settings, you're going to come over here to patch, and we're just going to start there. I'll leave it open. I'm just going to go through and talk about some different fixtures, and we can keep the ball rolling. So what I want to start with, guys, I'm going to start with wash fixtures. Wash fixtures are the backbone of the stage most of the time. Sometimes they move, sometimes they don't move. Really the main focus of your washes is to just spread the light and create almost a beautiful box of light within the stage. Some people like wash lights, some people don't. You don't see them as much on the fast-moving EDM stages. You see them a lot more in the slower country singing, slower movements, but we always enjoy a good wash light. A lot of wash lights that I started with that I saw primarily in nightclubs were your R2s. I saw a lot of Rogue R2s made by Chauvet on nightclub builds, and a lot of smaller but larger scale club builds. They work really well as stagnant lights. They're great fixtures to clone to as well. They're one of my favorite wash fixtures to clone to. So I'll go through 3 different fixtures within each category that I like. If you guys have any opinions on these fixtures, please feel free to let me know and we can talk about them. But the next wash that I really like is the Mac Aura. I do have to say I really love Martin Lights. They are going to be brought up a bunch today. I'm just a huge fan of Martin Lights, but the Mac Aura is always a great selection for wash fixtures. Again, another good one to clone too. And last is the Clay Packy BI. You will see this fixture all the time, whether it's the BI by Clay Packy or it's some Chinese fixture that has been brought in. You'll see it all the time. It has a bunch of different parts on the lights that you can program to and change separately, or you can just program the whole light as a wash. But they're really fun lights to use. I wouldn't recommend these as the best to clone to because they have a lot of different parameters. I would rather stick to a Rogue or a Mac Aura like we talked about before if I'm going to be cloning to them. But BIs give you a lot of versatility, and you can do a lot of fun stuff with BIs. I had them early on when I worked in a nightclub, and they did a lot of really cool stuff. It was an EDM based nightclub, and you could really just open them up and do a lot of cool effects that worked well for EDM. So I really like the BIs. They're a lot of fun to program, but other than that, not the best cloning fixture. Sweet. So we're gonna move on to my least favorite fixture, spotlights. You hate them, you love them, you see them a lot, you always need them, and everyone has opinions on spotlights. I'm just gonna name 3 simple ones. They're all easy to clone to. They're ones that you will see more often than not, so we will just stick to those. The first, we're gonna stick to the same category of Chauvet. You're gonna have your R3. The R3 spot is a medium-sized fixture. It's not as big as some of the spots that you're going to see on some larger builds. They're easier to work with. I enjoy the R3. They're great for cloning. After the R3, you have the Mac Viper. You will see the Mac Viper all the time on your larger builds. It's a giant fixture. Again, one of my favorites. I love Mac. But the Mac Viper is, when I'm building a stage and I know I'm going to be cloning fixtures, the Mac Viper is almost the spot I use every time because it's seamless, it has a bunch of parameters, and everything clones really well to it. So the Mac Viper is awesome. When we do some patching, I'll probably use the Mac Vipers as my spot fixture. And then last we have the high-end system, solar frame. I like the solar frame. You're not going to see it as much. It's more of a niche light. It's again really large, but again it's a good selection. It's an easy one to clone to. I use it for cloning sometimes, but not as much as the Viper. Alright guys, and we will move on to the hybrid fixtures. Your hybrids are going to be all of your lights that have the versatility of a spotlight, but they can get real big, they can open up, you can almost use it as a wash light. You have a lot of options with hybrids. I like hybrids in smaller builds where the budget's not as large because you can get a lot more functionality out of just one light. Axioms, I'll talk about them in a second, but Axioms are an industry standard. They're a small light, but they pack a big punch where you can get all of the functionality of multiple fixtures into them. So I love hybrids. They're great. The first one we'll talk about is the Intimidator. The Chauvet Intimidator is one of the industry standards of hybrid fixtures. You're going to see it more times than not. Most places carry it. It has a big wide zoom and a great beam. I really like the Chauvet Intimidator. It's used a lot. I had a rig a few months back when I was doing a rock gig. It was a whole Chauvet rig, and they had about 45 Intimidators, and it was really cool. You can really get the fixtures to do a bunch of different things that you could do with a lot more fixtures, but you're able to do with a fewer amount with hybrids, and that's what I think is awesome with them. So after that, we have the Axiom. I brought the Axiom up already. I love the Axiom. A lot of shops carry it. It has a great color. I don't like color wheels. It does still have a color wheel, which is unfortunate, but color wheels are still very much a real thing. We can talk about those later on at another point, how I like to program around color wheels. But Mac Axiom, and then you have your Mega Points. You're going to see your Mega Points a lot all the time too. All three of these hybrids are just industry standard. You'll see them at a bunch of different shops. I just had a bunch of Mega Points recently on a stadium tour I did, and they looked great. They do have issues a lot of times where they'll lean down, but I think that may just be because we were running them on so many shows. But yeah, Mega Points. From there, we're going to move on to your beams. Beams are more of a niche fixture that you will see on more rock and roll based or EDM. I do believe you'll see them on larger scale country acts, but beams are a lot more narrow. You can get a lot of beams out of good hybrids, so a lot of people will just use hybrids instead. But I love beam effects. When you're running them on big EDM shows, you can run a lot of crazy chases and a lot of big crosses and a lot of big swoops with them and give a lot of effect. Some people don't like the effect that beams give. It's a lot of moving light and a lot of light all over the place. I don't know if that's what all artists like, but for big flashy shows, you always want to pack a bunch of beams. So I'll go over a couple beam fixtures real quick. These are all great cloning fixtures. I recommend them. First, we have your Chauvet. We'll start with the Rogue R2. The R2 is Chauvet's industry standard beam fixture. You see it a lot of times in nightclubs and more flashy, trashy shows. Alright, and we also have your Elation Platinum Beam 5Rs, another one that is just seen all the time. And then, of course, the light that is talked about more than anything on Earth, you have your Clay Packy Sharpie, which, love the Sharpies. They still have color wheels in them, so you're going to run into that issue, but you will see Sharpies almost all the time. If anyone talks about beams, they want to talk about Sharpies, and that's just the case. From there, we're going to move on to our strobe fixtures, guys. This is a very controversial topic because I know strobe lights have changed a lot in the last 30 years. The ones I'm going to name are technically strobe lights, but they have so much functionality, and honestly, a lot of people struggle with these strobes that have a wild amount of parameters and pixel mapping and a lot more to them. I'm going to go through these quick. I'm sure if anyone has any opinions, we can talk about these as well. But you got your JDC1, you got your Color Strike M, and you got your Solaris Flare. Your Solaris Flare is not as common. I'm going to use this one because this is very much, it changes colors, it's bright, it has the pixels. If you wanted to pixel map it, you can get that fiery on-stage breathing look, but it's not going to have the strobe bar in the middle like your JDC and your Mac 1. Or your Strike M, I'm sorry. But in the JDC ones, in the Strike M, you have your color bars in the middle that go white, and they're very much a blinder slash strobe. You can get them to go hot or cold, but they stay that white color, and you have all your pixels on the outside that will do the color for you. I run into a lot of issues where people struggle programming these lights. There's a lot of programming to do because of all the parameters. You got to program the parameters separately, and when it comes to cloning these fixtures, it's not easy to do. Normally, if I have to clone to a strobe, I'm just going to use flares, and I'm going to keep them on a lower parameter, and I'm just going to get your basic color and chases and that sort of stuff. I'm not going to do any pixel mapping or any of that when it comes to cloning fixtures. So that is it for your strobes and blinders. We'll keep it quick. Everyone knows what a blinder is. I prefer strikes. We got the Strike 2 and the Strike 4. One has 2 lights, one has 4. They're big, they're bright, they light up the crowd. Not much to it. And yeah, that's it. I got a couple color bars. Most of the time on the road, when I see or work with color bars, they're normally the Chauvet color strips or Colorados. You see them all the time. I have a very basic cloning profile for them too. They do have a lot of parameters, so I try to keep it low. It's interesting with those what artists like to do with them. You got a lot of stuff you can do with them, but sometimes they're just used for basic coloring, washing of the stage. It really depends on what the artists want. So that is it for the fixtures, guys. From there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick a couple of them out, and we're going to start building a stage. That's going to be it for this video. The next video, I'm going to go over getting stuff patched in, and we can go from there. Thanks for showing up, guys. That is the first video on some fixtures that I like and what I see on the road often, fixtures I choose to clone to, and I hope this helped you guys out. Peace.